The ocean has always held its secrets, vast and deep, but few are as chilling as the tale of the SS Ourang Medan. Imagine a calm day, February 1948, in the Strait of Malacca. The sun is shining, the seas are gentle, a perfect day for sailing. But for the crew of the Dutch freighter Ourang Medan, it was anything but. This story, part legend, part documented mystery, begins with a terrifying distress call that echoed across the waves. A message that still sends shivers down the spine of anyone who hears it. It started with a frantic Morse code message picked up by multiple ships, including the American vessel Silver Star. The message was fragmented, desperate. It said SOS. From steamship Ourang Medan, we float. All officers, including captain, dead in chart room and on bridge. Probably a whole crew dead. The signal was jarring enough, but what came next was even more disturbing. After a few more jumbled clicks, a final, horrifying message was transmitted. I die. And then silence. The captain of the Silver Star, Lawrence H. Sachs, knew he had to respond. Altering his course, he raced towards the last known position of the Ourang Medan. The journey was filled with tension. What could cause an entire crew to perish so suddenly? Was it pirates? Sudden unknown illness? As they neared the coordinates, the silhouette of the Dutch freighter appeared on the horizon, drifting aimlessly. There were no signs of fire, no smoke, no visible damage. It was just quiet, too quiet. As the Silver Star pulled alongside, the eerie stillness was overwhelming. They hailed the Ourang Medan, but their calls were met with only the sound of the waves lapping against the hull. Something was terribly wrong. A boarding party was assembled, their hearts pounding as they prepared to step onto a ship that was, for all intents and purposes, a floating tomb. What they found was a scene straight out of a nightmare. The decks of the Ourang Medan were littered with the bodies of the crew. They were everywhere on the bridge, in the chart room, scattered across the open decks. Every single person was dead. But it was the way they died that was truly horrifying. Their eyes were wide open, their faces twisted into masks of sheer terror, mouths agape as if they had let out a final, silent scream. Their arms were outstretched, pointing towards something unseen, something that had terrified them to death. Even the ship's dog, a small terrier, was found dead, its teeth bared in a final frozen snarl. The boarding party searched the ship from bow to stern. They found the ship's captain dead on the bridge. The other officers were in the wheelhouse and chart room, all in the same state. Down in the boiler room, the intense cold was unnatural, a stark contrast to the tropical heat outside. It was a chilling detail in an already bizarre situation. The most unsettling discovery was in the radio room. There, slumped over his equipment, was the radio operator. His fingers were still on the Morse code key, frozen in the act of sending his final, desperate message. I die. The search of the ship revealed no signs of violence, no wounds, no struggle. The bodies were untouched, yet they were all dead, their faces locked in an expression of ultimate fear. It was as if they had seen something so horrifying, their hearts simply gave out. The captain of the Silver Star decided the only course of action was to tow the Ourang Medan to the nearest port for a full investigation. Ropes were secured, and the slow, grim task of pulling the ghost ship began. But the Ourang Medan wasn't ready to give up its secrets. Just as they started to make way, smoke began to billow from the lower decks, from cargo hold number 4. The boarding party scrambled back to their own ship. The smoke quickly turned into a raging fire. Before anyone could react, a massive explosion ripped the Ourang Medan apart. The force of the blast was so powerful, it lifted the ship out of the water before it plunged beneath the waves, taking its dead crew and its terrifying secret to the bottom of the ocean. It was gone forever. So what happened to the crew of the SS Ourang Medan? The mystery has fueled speculation for decades. One of the most popular theories involves the cargo. Some believe the ship was secretly transporting a deadly, unregistered nerve agent, perhaps something left over from World War II experiments. A leak in the containers could have released a colorless, odorless gas, causing rapid asphyxiation and the terrifying death postures. This could also explain the sudden fire and explosion, as the substance might have reacted with seawater. Another theory points to a more natural, yet equally deadly phenomenon: carbon monoxide poisoning from a malfunctioning boiler system. This could explain the sudden deaths, but it doesn't quite account for the looks of sheer terror on the crew's faces or the chilling cold reported by the boarding party. And then there are the more far-fetched supernatural explanations. Some have suggested an encounter with something not of this world, a UFO, a paranormal entity. Could the crew have witnessed something so alien, so incomprehensible, that the shock alone killed them? It sounds like science fiction, but in a case with no survivors and no wreckage, all theories remain on the table. The biggest twist in this story? Some researchers now question if the Ourang Medan ever existed at all. Despite the vivid accounts, there are no official registration records for a ship by that name in most maritime archives, including Lloyd's of London. The story first appeared in print in the 1950s, but concrete official documentation is incredibly scarce. Could the entire tale be an elaborate seafaring legend? A ghost story passed from sailor to sailor, embellished over time? Whether it's a true unsolved maritime disaster or a masterfully crafted piece of folklore, the story of the SS Ourang Medan endures, taps into our deepest fears of the unknown, of the vast, lonely ocean and the secrets it holds. A ship full of dead men, their faces frozen in fear, a final desperate message, and a fiery explosion that erases all evidence. It's a perfect mystery, one that will likely never be solved. The legend of the ghost ship Ourang Medan continues to haunt the high seas, a chilling reminder that some questions are destined to remain unanswered. What do you think happened? Chemical leak? A paranormal event? Or just a tall tale? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this dive into the unknown, don't forget to like and subscribe for more mysteries.